Talk to me about the reboot, BH90210, 2019. So, like, I mean, it kind of was the brainchild of you and Tori originally.
Right. Yes, that was us taking the show in a different direction. Everyone always wanted to do a reboot, and it was this, everybody was doing reboots at that moment. And I was really opposed to doing just a straightforward reboot. And I felt like the rest of the cast was sort of aligned with that, not really wanting to go back and redo something that just couldn't be redone again, because we're all in different places, and the world is in a different place. So we really wanted to sort of do things differently, and kind of like the show 90210 was very groundbreaking in what it did. We wanted to sort of kind of try to break some ground with that concept of doing like a meta crossover, because I'm a big fan of like Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David, all those things. And there was just I really wanted to look behind the curtain, and see both sides of the world of filming a show and the people that were filming the show. And also because so many people, our fans, have been so amazing and so devoted and committed to each of us as actors, and followed all of us on our journeys and our career paths and whatever we've done. They know us, not just as Kelly or Brandon or Donna, but they know us as actors and as people. So it was kind of an interesting concept for us to get to play with that sort of concept. And we had a really great time writing it and producing it. And it was a really like advantageous undertaking. And it was definitely challenging, but all in all, we felt like it was what we wanted to do at that time. And I watch it back, think, I love it. It's so fun and funny and different. And there were fans that were super, super disappointed that it wasn't a straight reboot, and that we weren't playing Kelly and Brandon and Brenda and all the people. But then there were the people that were open and like, let's do something different with this. We've already seen that. Let's do something different.
I thought it was brilliant. I mean, it was so nuanced in so many ways. Like, you're playing a heightened version of yourself. You're playing Kelly, which I thought it was just brilliant, like on so many different levels. And I would think, like, as an actress, it was challenging versus a straight reboot.
Yeah, and it was fun. It was like fun to sort of do it differently, and use our energy to think of a different way to do something. But we were also very cognizant of giving the fans of the OG show what they wanted in little increments, and also, giving them little eggs of like what from the old days and from the old show, and trying to bring that into the current world.
Was there anything off limits? Because you guys all, you make light of the fact that you've been married many times. Brian Austin Green is married to someone very super famous. Tori and the nepotism. Like, was there anything someone just said like, oh, I don't know, or everyone was kind of on board?
There were definitely, we came up against hurdles from time to time with different characters, wanting to kind of steer away from certain aspects of their private life, which was completely fine. It was the brainchild of Tori and myself, but once we got going, we brought other people in, everybody became producers on the show. And so it became a show where we all sort of developed our characters how we wanted to do it. And so while it wasn't exactly how we had originally conceived it, it became something else, which worked. And was so important for everybody to be on board and super comfortable and happy with it and into it, and we achieved that because everybody was really a part of the writing and the producing of the 6-episode series.
Totally. How bittersweet was it to do it without Luke?
Ugh, that was the worst part. I mean, it was, the timing was just the weirdest part of it all, because we had sold the show prior to Luke's passing, and then he was looking forward to exploring it with us and hearing about it, and he was super supportive. And then that happened, and of course we thought, well, we're not going to do this, then there's no way we can possibly move forward with this. And nobody even knew what to think at that point. And then it sort of became very clear that, I get goosebumps when I talk about it, because it was supposed to be that way. Like, we were all supposed to be back together to go through that awful initial time together after he died. And in a weird way, I think he was with us, of course, but he was watching and thinking, I'm glad that they're all together, because this was a really hard thing to get through.
It was. And that must have made it easier, at least, that you were all together.
Yeah, it was, there was some comfort there for sure.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
And it was an honor to him in a way, the show too.
Yeah, it was, we tried to, that was always in the forefront of our minds, definitely.
Well, that was 2019 and now it's 2021. I mean, are we done? Because the fans aren't done. I mean, are we
I
done?
don't know.
Like a movie, another reboot?
I mean, there's always somebody knocking on the door with some idea. And it's just a matter of getting everybody on board with the same idea, which is the most challenging part. I don't know. Like I said before about what I like about you, I'll never say never. You never know what's going to happen. And I always stay open to whatever the universe brings my way, and sort of weigh it and consider it, look at it from all different angles. And I'm a very go with the flow kind of person. Like, I'm not a goal oriented person. I've never set goals for myself, really big career goals or anything like that. I like to just kind of go with the flow. And I've always said I'll never, ever, ever turn my back on 90210. I never have. And that show, gave me the life that I have now. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. I wouldn't have 3 beautiful daughters. And, my life is because of that show. And I'm just always been so grateful. And, you never know.
So after the next time you record a 9021 OMG podcast with Tori, can't you say, come on, Tori, let's come up with another idea?
I'm usually the one that's like, oh, I don't know. Like, let's really think about that. But there's always ideas, of course. Yeah. Who knows?
At least you're open to it.
I'm open to anything.
I like that. Did you ever think when you started 90210, like, speaking of Tori, like, that you were going to make basically one of your best friends for life?
No, I mean, you don't really think about anything much when you're that age.
That is true.
And you can't really think, you can't see past, the tunnel that you are in when you're that age, especially in that whirlwind of an environment. But yeah, it's so cool to have a friend for 30 plus years that knows you better than anybody and knows you on that experience that the core cast, the initial cast went through together, that just sudden jolt into stardom and all the things that went with fame, with being on a show like that every week, for 10 years. Those are experiences that not a lot of people can really understand or relate to. So the bond with those people is really strong, and it'll never, ever, ever go away. No matter if we don't speak to each other for 5 years at a time, that'll, always be my brothers and sisters. And yes, having those friendships is invaluable.
How often do people in the real world come up and think that you are Kelly Taylor? I mean, you've done a lot of other things in your career, which we just discussed.
Yeah.
But I mean, does that happen?